while it can be comfortable because it's maybe a family cousin, that doesn't mean that they're the right fit for you just because they go to the church with auntie and all them.
Oftentimes it's not.
Oftentimes they're not.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important from the gate that you show realtors you're serious and allow them to earn your business. This is Owning Realty. Hey guys, welcome to Owning Realty. I am your host, along with
Tamika Bullock-Carter.
Tristan, I feel like saying three names. Tristan Yankowski O'Donnell.
You said that earlier because you said it before.
She said, what does she normally say?
The three names, but she left it out earlier. I was like,
You left out a name?
she left out.
I mean, yeah.
Well, do I need a third? I have a
You
third
do.
name.
You have a third.
Why are we so hyphenated?
Yes.
Okay.
let's do it.
Welcome everyone.
Welcome, Lindsay West Thompson. You know,
We should always say that.
we should
Three
always
names.
say
Like,
our three
seriously.
names. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're
Sounds
doing.
more
Moving
distinguished
forward. Yeah,
anyways.
distinguished
Yes.
women that we
Yes.
are.
So
Okay, so welcome back. We're here with another episode. In today's episode, we're talking about how to choose the right realtor. Jesus, I said it like the people.
did you really?
Realtor. The right realtor for your purchasing or selling needs. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about tips and tricks on how to pick them. And I mean, by now you've seen enough episodes. You obviously have a great choice to go from.
No need to look
The
any
whole
further.
spectrum is right here. Don't worry about the other ones, but just in case, you find yourself outside, these are the things that you need to keep in mind, okay? So let's get right into it. So let's talk about the things that are important, like like
Meat and potatoes.
meat and potatoes.
Well, can we start with there is a difference between a realtor,
Let's start with that.
agent,
Yes, Tristan.
and a realtor?
Yes.
There is.
Yes,
There's
certainly
educational differences.
Yes.
There are, what's the word I'm looking for?
ethics.
Thank you. Ethics requirements that are different. There is, I can't think today.
It's okay.
Rules.
There's just
guidelines.
differences.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we,
I'm rubbing off on
You
you.
are rubbing off on me.
Yes.
And
We've sworn to.
Realtors are held or have a higher standard that they have to do business by.
Yes.
And you are doing a business, like the biggest business
business
in
of your life.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Big
you
business,
should.
Be working with a big business
Yes.
realtor,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so there's a difference, like she said. And then there's also the difference of experience, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Yes.
And so, you have some agents, and no shade to them, no shade to realtors who
We all started out somewhere with no experience.
With no
Right,
experience.
right.
But it's important that even if you are working with, I guess, a newer agent, because you have newer agents, and then you have experienced agents, and there's some newer agents that are fire. Like,
Yeah.
they have the right,
Team.
back.
Yeah.
Yes.
They know how to find information
Yes.
and answer
They're
questions
resourceful.
and not just make up
stuff.
Yes. And because
Yeah.
they don't know, it's
Right.
okay to not know.
Yes.
They want to learn.
Yeah.
They want to get it right.
Yes.
Yes.
And you have some experienced agents who have really bad habits.
Yeah.
But they're super experienced, right? But they can have bad habits. So I think you can find someone, all different types of things. It could be, there's so many things that go into it, but don't just look at experience, right?
We are the agents with experience and not bad habits.
Yes.
So
We actually run a business.
we gonna be shameless plugging you this whole episode. So if you ain't figured it out by now, these are your options, okay? Just in case. So let's talk about how the pricing and the negotiating and all those things come into. Well, actually, let's back up. How do we start the process of looking for a realtor?
How do you?
Well, you would start the process by reaching out to family and friends, possibly. Googling. You can Google. You can even go on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and look at, reviews and, remarks that people are making. I think in the beginning, it's important that you kind of gather
Yeah.
a couple, right? At
Yeah.
least 3.
Yes.
Gather 3 that you may have in mind,
Yes.
and then set up, consultations
Yes,
with the 3 of them.
absolutely.
Yeah. Set up consultations with them, meet with them face to face, ask questions.
Get a feel.
And I will
for-
say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, just get a feel for the energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause-
how you're vibing.
Yep.
If you have 3 agents that you're interviewing, and you can say, I'm interviewing you and 2 other agents.
Absolutely.
If that agent responds in a weird way because you are interviewing other agents,
Disqualified.
go ahead and take them off the list, add another one in their place, because it is, I believe I may not be the best person for everyone.
not everyone's
and,
cup of tea,
and it's,
yeah.
you get tight with people. You
Yes, you
spend
do.
so much time,
You do.
conversations with people that,
And it's a
should
big
be allowed.
transaction.
Yeah.
And while it can be comfortable because it's maybe a family cousin, that doesn't mean that they're the right fit for you just because they go to the church with auntie and all them.
Sometimes it's not.
Oftentimes they're not.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important from the gate that you show realtors you're serious and allow them to earn your business.
Yeah. And not to shade other realtors again, because sometimes you just don't want to work with your family.
Yes.
Right.
You just don't. You
Yes.
just want to keep those things.
Yeah, you
You
wanna
want
keep
to
it
keep those
separate.
separate.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of personal
There's a
information
lot.
that's
Yeah.
going on in
Yes.
this transaction. And you
There's
need
nothing wrong with that.
There's
No.
nothing wrong with that because you don't want it being shared amongst everyone. So yes, it's very important that I say gather.
Gather.
3 at least, and interview them.
Yeah.
And
Step 1, gather
one.
and
Step one,
interview.
gather and interview. Okay.
But don't interview them in a gathering.
No.
No.
I mean, I guess you could. That's never happened. That would be weird.
That would be weird.
Okay,
Don't do that.
I'm going off. But
Scratch that.
Scratch that part. Rick, cut it. But yes, interview them in separate spaces and separate times.
Yes. And take notes. Lots of notes.
Take notes.
Yeah.
Yes, take lots of notes in terms of what you like, how you felt about it, like their experience, what they shared, like what they came to the table with in
Yeah.
terms of material.
yes,
all of
yes.
those things,
How
yeah.
prepared they
prepared
are.
they are.
I will.
Yes.
Our clients, my clients, are the way that we work.
Yeah.
Have said you've come prepared more than anybody else. Like I'm already a leg up. We're already a leg up because of that.
Yep.
But it is. We should be prepared.
We should be prepared.
I've been doing this 20 years. I still prepare and practice every
every
conversation, and everyone is different. And I research my clients. I go look on Facebook. I see how many kids they have, how many dogs,
I do the
where their
same thing.
parents live. I see where they grew up. I see when their birthdays are.
Yep.
Like I want to know. This
They
is
are just as well as they want to know who we are.
Who we are, and do we align? You know,
Right.
just
Yes.
naturally, do we align? Because again, everybody isn't for everybody.
At the end of the day, it has to be someone that you are comfortable with.
Yes.
That you feel is answering your questions
Right.
properly.
Yeah.
Someone that's just answering their call
Yeah.
Right.
and answering text messages because you will have lots of questions and things. Yes, responsive.
Yeah. And I think it's important for you to ask them how they like to communicate.
Yes.
Yeah,
It could be
absolutely.
1 or 2 ways or 3. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with text, phone calls, and emails. So
Yep.
a lot of, especially millennials, just text me. But
Yeah.
sometimes it requires us to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Like,
It
we have
does.
to get on the phone.
Yeah.
Especially with those hard conversations. Like, I don't want to text because that can be
Yes,
misconstrued
yes.
oftentimes.
Yeah.
Tone.
Yeah,
Pick up the
tones
phone.
and yeah.
Text.
Pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone.
You also want to know like what areas do they work in? You know,
Yes.
what kind of areas of expertise do they have?
Right.
If they're only a agent that sells in town living, but you want to live
Right.
in Swanee,
Right.
Yeah.
then or outside of the perimeter, then that's probably not the agent for you.
If you want a new construction and the agent, and a lot of agents don't do new construction, there's so many resales.
Right.
So it's not that they just haven't had to.
Right.
If you want new construction, you need to find an agent that has at least done new
Yes.
construction, because that's a different
Yes.
process as well, working with the builders. And the builders have their own contract
Right.
and
They've got their
like
own
scheduling of
in-house lenders.
walkthroughs
Yep.
and all those things.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about buying a renovated property or a property that you plan to renovate, working with the agent who has experience in renovations would be
Yes.
beneficial to you because they'll be able to, which we all do.
Famous club. You're going to get it about
And
every
so, and so they'll be able to call out things that they're concerned with. They may see a cast iron pipe in the crawl space and be like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a question mark." They'll look at the roof. They're gonna have a different set of eyes than an agent who has never done any renovations. Also, you may need some down payment money. You know what I mean? And oftentimes I've realized that a lot of agents aren't aware of the grant programs and the down payment programs that are out there.
Yes.
And you end up bringing way more money to the table than you should have.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so if you're looking to save money, you need to ask those type of questions. What ways can you save me money? You know?
You need an agent that is, I always do that, sorry. I'm like,
I had a light bulb go
you
off.
need an agent that is a problem solver. Like that is a must.
Yes.
And that isn't freaked out by lots of just changes and things. Someone that's
Yes.
going to keep you calm.
Right.
Because no transaction is the same. There's always something. Having an agent that experience, it's like, I've seen this, it's fine. And there are times where we haven't seen it, but we go out and we know how to find the answers.
Correct.
And so having that.
Being resourceful,
Yeah.
creative, thinking of all the things, ready
Yeah.
to do everything.
There's
'Cause we
always
do really have to
something.
put on so many hats.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the transaction, and we just have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, we just
Have to
never
stay
know
ready.
what's going to
Yeah.
happen. As it relates to sellers, I think it's important that the agent has a marketing plan
Yes.
for your listings. You know,
Absolutely.
that
Gone are the days of
Gone
just
are
putting
the
up
days.
a sign and
and a
taking
lockbox.
pictures and FMLS. That's not good enough
Over with.
anymore, especially not 2025.
No.
Especially.
Gone are the days.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so an agent that is going to walk your property, a pre-listing
Yes.
appointment, that is going
Yes.
to walk your property before it's time to sell. It's going to call out the things.
We got a checklist.
We got a
Yes.
checklist. There's a
Yes.
deep cleaning that's needed. We need to get that HVAC serviced. We need to get the windows cleaned. The pressure wash the exterior. There are things that listing agents are going to look at and walk through your property and call out. But you cannot just trust it to somebody who's just going to come in and take iPhone pictures
Right.
and be out the door.
Please don't start me on,
If you see somebody taking iPhone pictures, cut it.
You
Cut
need to
the
stop
show.
it right then.
Cut the show.
Stop it right then.
Right then and
Cut the
there.
show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Walk them through that timeline, because we have a timeline for all of those
Yeah.
items that you just mentioned.
Right.
Well, and the experience in that walkthrough helps because we've seen so many inspections. So our goal isn't to say, do all these things and spend all your money.
Yes.
The goal is to say, what are the things that are going to make a difference?
Correct.
And showing lots of properties and selling lots of
Yes.
properties gets us both of those points of view.
Yep.
But also, what are the things that are going to show up on an inspection, scare a buyer? Like, I'm not trying to have you do way too much.
Yes.
But I know that be prepared, this cast iron pipe may come up.
Right.
Be prepared, your HVAC is old, so you may want to have
It's serviced.
it's serviced so that you have that in your listing document so that they know, okay, it's old, but it's working.
Yeah.
Or you might
All
want to get a
those.
home warranty.
Yes.
Because you do have an older HVAC, and that is going to be a concern.
Yeah.
That's just, we can't hide from it. So it's good to know the
Yeah.
things, the possibilities. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say really both. Have it serviced. If
And
it's
get-
old,
yep.
then
Yeah.
get the home warranty, because there's your extra added security.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's security for the buyer, and it just gives them a little peace of mind.
Yes,
in a
for
place
sure.
that they tend to freak out at.
And I've also, knowing it's old, but knowing it's working, I've said, let's be prepared to offer a 2-year home warranty. Like everybody's given one, you know it's old, let's make them feel even better about it. Like it's working, we're not selling you a lemon,
Yes.
but everything has an expiration. So let's give them 2 years. That's 2 years is $1,200 maybe
Yes.
on a
Yep.
home warranty versus
Getting a brand new
$8,000 for a new
Yep.
system because you
Yep.
haven't prepared mentally for
Yep.
that.
And be able to have that conversation, because that's going to make so much more sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, so it sounds like we got all the things we're looking for. What about red flags to
In an
avoid
agent?
In an agent, yeah. Realtor.
Yes. Red flags are not, we've said a couple of them, not communicating well. Honestly,
Yes.
just not communicating and not being able to, if an agent can't express their experience and their thoughts and have a plan,
Yes.
Yes.
that's a red flag.
Yep.
If you see them pull out a baby, everything else checked off great, and they're coming to do your listing photos, and you've already even signed.
The agreement.
When they show up with a cell phone, that's a red flag. You should,
You should call them
I
out
don't
on
know if
it.
I should be that harsh to other agents, but you should cancel that. You
Or-
should.
yeah,
or
I
say,
mean-
can you get somebody?
Yeah, I would call. I
loved everything else about it,
I loved
but-
everything else about you, but I
Yeah.
really require professional photos.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's probably a question you ask in the listing consultation, like, hey, what kind of, how do you take your pictures? How do you plan to market my property? Do you use professional photos? Do you have a staging team?
Right.
These are questions that you should probably be coming to the table with,
Yeah.
as well as talking about the fees up front.
Yes. Yeah.
If you have someone so I had this happen recently where I went to meet with a buyer and they were shoved from another agent, they were shoved the buyer's brokerage agreement with no explanation.
No.
Didn't
Red
explain
flag.
anything
Red
to
flag.
them at all. And I ended up having to explain it to them for them.
Yeah.
And that was how I won the buyer, because they hadn't even had the decency to tell them what the buyer's brokerage agreement meant. That's a huge thing. You're
a big
signing a
thing, especially
contract.
nowadays.
Nowadays, it's
period.
It was
Yeah.
always a
That's
big
always-
thing.
yeah,
But you're right.
period. Yeah.
But nowadays, there's so much more layers to it, I think.
Yes.
Correct.
And we have to explain those things. So red flags is someone who doesn't discuss their fees with you.
Yeah.
There's
Someone
fees.
who doesn't.
There are fees.
There are fees.
Yeah. Let's say you're a buyer and you call and you say, "I'd like to go look at a house," and someone says, "Okay, I'll meet you there." Red flag is them not having deeper conversations and not
Questioning.
pushing you for a consultation. Like, I'm happy to show you
Correct.
this house. I know you
But-
want to see it. We can go see it. Let's, after that, like, plan on, even if it's, let's go see the house, let's sit down after that and talk about more
Right.
things. Or let's do that first, depending on the time.
Right.
That's a red
Yeah,
flag.
that's a red flag.
We should have a flag right now.
We should have a flag.
Okay, it's all right.
So another red flag is a pushy agent.
Yeah.
Those are the worst.
The salesmen.
You shuddered.
Absolutely.
You gotta buy it now. It's on sale. You gotta buy it now.
Yeah,
You know what I
yes.
mean? Like, buy the house. So, pushy agents, gimmicky agents. We know one.
I know.
So you have to be careful of those as well. Inexperience with the market, or even know the rates. Agents that's a red flag. Who don't
You
even
should
know.
ask someone. You should test them.
What are the
what's,
interest
what's
rates?"
interest rates right now? If they're like, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Red flag.
I'll have to refer you to my lender.
Red flag.
Back up. Don't say we didn't warn you. They should have an idea of what the rates are. They should also have
Tethering.
They should have an idea of the current, market trends.
Yes.
What's happening? What are we seeing? How long are homes supposed to be seeing? They should have information for you.
Yes.
So those are, if the agent is telling you they're referring to everybody for everything, red flag.
Yeah. Yes.
What do you have? What do
no
you
value.
have? There's
Yeah.
no value.
Absolutely.
So
I love that.
they should know. They should know something.
Yeah.
Especially loan types.
Yes.
I think that agents should know loan types. That's a red flag. If you
Yeah.
don't know loan types,
Test them.
Test them. What's the difference between FHA and conventional?
I don't know. Let me think about that. I'll get back with you.
I'll get back
ask
to
my
you.
loan officer.
Let me ask my loan officer.
Red flag.
Red flag. Things like that. So you should be able to get information from these folks. Okay. Y'all, I'm drawing a blank.
I was going to piggyback off of what you said a few minutes
ahead.
ago about showing up as a list agent and then them being prepared to ask the list agent, well, what type of photos do you
Yep.
take? Like, they shouldn't have to ask that. And
You're right.
You shouldn't have to
shouldn't.
ask that, but you
That's
should.
You
So that's a red
should.
flag if you do ask. But
They should have told you how they were
that's a
coming.
part of
You're
the
right.
presentation.
You're right. They
So,
should have told you
another
how
red
they
flag.
Red
yes.
flag.
How are you going to market my place? You should
Right.
have a list of all of those things. I mean,
And examples.
right.
And examples of
Yes.
the photos that you
we
take.
have right. We
Yes.
we take that
We
on the
take
list,
that with us.
listing appointments.
which goes on. If you have to ask too many questions,
That you're not getting the answers.
then they're not prepared to give you and prepare you.
And there's no transparency.
That's a red flag. We
really should be
anticipate.
listening
We've
more.
been doing this.
Yeah.
We know
Yeah.
the questions that our clients are going to have. We come prepared and tell them these are frequently asked questions. I'm going to answer them for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would even say asking questions like, ask a realtor what pitfalls or hardships have they run into and how did they handle it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interview.
It is.
That's what they do down at the jobs.
Yes.
You know what I'm
This
saying?
is a job.
This is
Yes.
a job. So when they have these interviews down at the job, they ask you, tell me about a time in your life that you've had a rough experience and how did you deal with it?
How did you handle that?
Yeah.
We want to know. The people want to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, these are the things that you should be asking. It's an interview. Interview your agents. Don't just go with the first person that you're referred to.
Yes.
You deserve to see at least 3 people. And talk with them and see the vibe that you're getting, and take it from there.
Agree.
Agreed?
Agreed.
So another thing that an agent should be able to offer you or help you with is helping you find off-market properties, right? So whether it be working with their other agents, right?
Yep.
In their market, knowing where the pocket listings are.
Right. We know coming soons.
Yes. Yes.
That other people don't know
Yes.
of coming soons,
Right.
and can get our clients jump starts on at least viewing them.
Yes.
Or driving by them,
Yes.
which is always nice.
Yes. And that way you don't have to deal with the competitive market once it hits market. So such a clutch thing to have when you're able to find something that's off market. And so agents should have access to those.
And same as sellers, like you want a coming soon campaign where you are reaching out and getting some pre-list showings that give you feedback a little bit to prepare you for when you're hitting the market.
Yep.
And
Getting those eyes on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, I think these are the suggestions we have, right, to help you finding an agent. Of course, you already have found 3 right here, and we are ready and able to help you list or buy, sell or purchase your home. And so reach out to us. Let us know if you have any questions. Please drop them in the comments, DM us, whatever it takes, email us, whatever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. And also, if you're watching us on any podcast platforms like, Apple Podcasts or what have you, go ahead and give us a great rating, 5 stars, something nice, very mindful. And we thank you so much for listening today. We hope to see you next time.
Yes.
And thank you so much. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.